Hello, everybody. Thank you for waiting around till the end of the day. I've been in a few of the talks, and my brain's starting to slow down a little bit as well, so thank you. You're probably all here because you're all interested in AI, as am I, hence why I created this talk. But I'm not going to bore you with some of the really technical details of some of the things. I might skip over them so we can all get to the after party a little bit earlier today. But I just want to say thank you for having me. This is my first time at J Nation. It's a pretty epic venue, to be honest, in an old monastery. I've never been to a conference in a venue like this, so pretty cool. Quick introduction of myself. I feel sorry for your camera operator because I walk around a lot. Be prepared. So my name's Jamie Lee Coleman. I'm a developer advocate for Sonatype. I used to work at IBM, so I've done lots of different things in my career. I started with mainframes, then I worked on containerized solutions for WebSphere, if you know WebSphere and OpenLiberty. Then I worked on JVMs. Then I worked as a developer advocate for IBM. And then I got a bit bored of talking about JVMs and runtime, so I decided to join a security company. So that's a brief history of myself. So question, who's heard of Sonatype in here? Hands up, a few of you. OK, not many, about a quarter. Who's heard of Maven Central? Yeah, well, we run Maven Central, so you use our stuff pretty much every time you download a package. We've run Maven Central since its beginning. This started out as a computer underneath my boss's desk, funny enough. And obviously, Maven Central got bigger and bigger, and then we had to move it to AWS. So, yep, so this is one of the things that we do for the community. But we do lots of other things as well. Some of you may recognize Nexus Repo, so it's one of the biggest products we have, but we have lots of other different things around security as well. So a little bit of introduction of what I'm going to talk about today. Talk about the AI revolution and how that's changed. Yep, no worries, guys, just find a seat. I'm going to talk about the current state of AI, and then we're going to see if AI can take my job away from me, because I've generated 2 lots of slides from ChatGPT. So we'll see how good ChatGPT is, and if I need to be worried about my job. Then I'm going to talk about us in the industry. Should we all be worried about AI? Then I'm going to talk about some uses that we can all get out of AI. Then I'm going to talk about what Sonatype does with AI, and then give you a conclusion and some links to some of the things I've talked about today. So the AI revolution, I don't know if anyone's ever kept up with this. I know it's in the news everywhere these days, but AI has been around a very, very, very long time. So this isn't talking about all the AI in history, but I picked out some of the big points. So Alan Turing, we probably know who he is, a mathematician. One of the guys, he didn't create the first computer, but he probably built it. I think it was a Polish guy that actually designed it originally. But he created a test, the Turing test, and I'll go into a bit more information about that. But that was in 1950. So AI, we already knew was going to be a thing a long time ago. Then you've got the logic test. This was basically the first AI that ever existed, and it basically solved a load of mathematical problems. So that was in 1955, way before we talk about all this stuff now. You got the ELIZA chatbot, which was pretty much the first ever chatbot in history. So that was in 1966. Then we move on to the Wabot, which was basically an actual robot. And of course, Japan created that because they create all the cool robots. Then we fast forward to IBM Deep Blue. IBM Deep Blue is quite a cool thing. It was the first AI to beat a human in chess. So that was a big pivotal moment in AI when AI finally started to get better than us humans at some things. Then we move on to the Roomba. Who's got a Roomba? Anybody? I've got a Roomba. This was the first time we used AI in a commercial product in our home. So the Roomba was the first thing you had in your house that had AI installed. We're running out of spaces, sorry guys. IBM Watson. Hopefully you've heard about that. IBM has a tendency to create technology before it's popular and before its time. So the funny story about this is IBM pretty much sold off most of Watson just before ChatGPT came around. And of course AI is popular again, because IBM likes to do that. And then we move on to Eugene. This was kind of the first AI that essentially beat the Turing test, let's say. It's created by 2 Russians and a Ukrainian chap. Then, of course, ChatGPT. And I think this was a pivotal moment. So there's certain things in our industry which I see as a pivotal moment where things change. GitHub, for example, was one of them. Containers was a thing that I think changed our industry quite quickly. And ChatGPT, I think, has done that also. So the Turing test, if you don't know what the Turing test is, it's basically a test to see how good AI is. So you essentially have you have some humans, and you have AI and a human, and you make them have a conversation. And you have to, if the AI is undistinguishable from a human, then it's passed the Turing test. So this was kind of the test to see how clever AI was. Like I mentioned, IBM Deep Blue, this was the first AI to ever be a human in chess. So its first attempt, it didn't quite win. So it was trying to beat a guy called Garry Kasparov. And basically, IBM won 2 and Garry won 4 of those. But then IBM was not happy about this because IBM knew it could win some of these games. It went back to the drawing board. And in 1997, it thought it would try again. And then it won. It won, I think it was 2 to IBM, 1 to the champion, and then 3 draws. So this was really one of the first times AI is better than humans at certain things. Of course, then we got to Watson. I don't know if any of you saw Jeopardy when Watson competed against some of the best quiz masters in the world for a £1 million prize. I think it cost about $1 billion to build Watson, and the supercomputer to power it was probably £1 million just for that session, but it won, and this was really a crazy, crazy innovation. Now this, in my opinion, and I can speak freely because I don't work for IBM anymore, this had the potential to change the world. This could do what ChatGPT did a while ago, but it wasn't easily accessible. People couldn't just go onto a web interface, a website, and just type in a question. It was a bit more involved than that. But imagine, for example, use cases for IBM Watson. So doctors, new remedies, new things come out all the time. A normal doctor in a GP surgery could not read every new thing that's coming out. But having something like Watson that can do that, this could have really, really changed the industry. Now, unfortunately, IBM sold that. Of course they have. I can't remember what company they sold it to. And of course, with healthcare, you've got a lot of regulations to get around. But this was really a pioneering AI. But it was very, very hard to train. I did train it once, and it took me quite a few hours to get it to do a little bit. But yeah, very good. Then we move on to this. So Eugene Guzman was probably the most advanced chatbot in all time. And this is kind of one of the first times that AI has beat and won the Turing test, essentially. So, like I said, it was developed in Russia, in St. Petersburg, by 2 Russian guys and a Ukrainian guy. And it was portrayed to be this 13-year-old boy. The reason for that is it's tended to induce forgiveness in those whom it interacts with. So you wouldn't mind if it made some grammatical errors and sometimes the lack of its general knowledge. I'm not sure the Russians would use a Ukrainian boy now for their AI, but they did when this was created. And this was in 2014. This is when it managed to profoundly beat the Turing test, essentially. So we all know, we've all seen AI in the news. Some of you may use AI for certain things. This is something I was playing around with last night. I don't know if anyone's ever had a go with Adobe Generative Fill. This is scary stuff. Like, I can take a picture, just say, add northern lights, click on the sky, and that is a generated northern lights. For example, you can do anything with AI. We've all seen the deep fakes with Arnold Schwarzenegger, putting him into different comedies and things like that. Okay, it's not 100% fooling us yet, but give it 5 years, and I reckon they'll probably be able to deep fake anything to the point we won't be able to tell the difference. So scary, scary stuff, but it is very, very powerful and very useful for lots of different things. Now, we all know ChatGPT, of course. This came out in November 2022, yep. And in my opinion, this is something that changed AI because it gave normal people the ability to act with this technology, with this intelligence. Whereas before, we have to plug into APIs and do lots of stuff to call these methods. Whereas now, I don't know if you've seen the Ryan Reynolds thing where he generates a whole advert, I think it was Mint Mobile, using ChatGPT. It was quite scarily good, to be honest. So this, I think, in my opinion, is one of those technologies that in our industry will change the world and change people's opinions of it. Now, as developers, what can we get out of AI? There's lots of tools out there. I've picked 4 of my favorites here. 2 of them because I hate doing those tasks, and I thought AI can do them, and 2 of them just to make me a better developer. So the first one we have is code snippets and GitHub Copilot. Those are the first 2. They do very similar things, but these are amazing because what they can essentially do is make us better developers, especially if you're more junior and it's a new language for you. Not only can it generate code, it can also, as you're coding, give you suggestions on how to make A, your application more performant, B, to handle errors better. Some of these tools can even generate test cases for you, and bad test cases as well to find the edge cases. So these things are very, very powerful, and they also allow you to share code with your team and do this in collaboration. So these technologies some of them are based on ChatGPT. So I think code snippets use the ChatGPT 4 engine, things like that, but they work with lots of different languages. So I don't think they're going to take our jobs, but they're going to make us better at our jobs at the moment. Now, these are the 2 things I hate doing. I hate dealing with regex. I hate it. So there is basically this auto regex, which you can just describe in natural English, and it will produce the regex for you, because I hate doing regex. Now, Mintify, I presume most of you hate writing comments and documentation. This will go through your code and write its comments for you and your documentation. I mean, these are kind of tasks that AI is built for. We know how to do it. It's not a problem that we don't have the ability to do these tasks. It's that they're mundane. Once you've done them a few times, it's repetitive. So why do you not give these tasks to something like AI? So those are 4 of my favorite tools that developers should be using. And if you're not using it, just try it out. Most of them have free tiers. What I've done now, and this is the first time I've actually ever used AI in a talk, I asked ChatGPT to generate the next 20 slides for me. So let's see if it is actually going to take my job any time soon. Let's see if I should be worried. So the first question I asked ChatGPT is, give me the advantages of AI. Okay, and again, all generated. So first of all, increased efficiency. AI technology can automate repetitive tasks, like I mentioned, freeing up human resources to do more complex tasks, more creative work, which is what as humans are built for. With AI processes, they can be streamlined and optimized, lead to more efficiency and productivity. And AI doesn't have downtime. We have to get paid, we have to sleep, we have to eat. AI doesn't need to sleep, AI doesn't need to eat. So AI can do these tasks that we need running 24/7. Enhanced decision making, so AI algorithms can analyze vast amounts of data quickly and accurately. Machine learning algorithms can identify patterns and trends that humans might miss. And AI can help businesses make data-driven decisions, resulting in improved outcomes and reduced risks. Can you tell this is a little bit generated by AI here? Yeah, anybody? The next set of slides is the disadvantages, and I want you to see if there's any difference between what ChatGPT said for advantages and disadvantages, but we'll get to that in a second. Okay. Improve customer experience. AI-powered chatbots and virtual assistants provides instant and personalized customer support. Disagree with that to somewhat. I hate talking to a robot on the phone, but hey-ho, yes, it can sometimes. Recommendation systems based on AI algorithms can offer tailored product suggestions. Yes, it can, but I still think humans can do that better. And natural language processing enables AI to understand and respond to customer queries. So yes, AI can be used to increase the customer experience. Cost savings, obviously, we don't have to pay AI, we don't have to feed AI, so obviously we're going to have cost savings there. It can help businesses reduce costs by automating processes. Predictive maintenance, powered by AI, can basically equip for any failures that might happen. So, for example, it might know it's Christmas time and your stack and your microservices are all of a sudden getting a massive flood of requests. So AI can think about that and it can say, look, last year at this time, you had this problem because it was this time of the year and people wanted to buy X product or Y product. So why don't I, increase the amount of pods you've got and increase the amount of microservices, so AI can help there. Also, like inventory management systems, things like that. Innovation and creativity. So AI can enable researchers and scientists to tackle complex problems by leveraging computational power and advanced algorithms. It can also generate new ideas and designs and solutions. We've all seen the AI-generated images of people sitting on the top of rockets and things like that. So AI can be creative in some way, even though we still need to describe what we want. And creative industries such as art and music, they can explore new possibilities with AI. So improve safety. How can AI improve safety? So it can be employed in various industries to enhance safety and risk. Autonomous vehicles powered by AI can reduce human error, which is definitely true. And AI surveillance systems can detect anomalies and potential threats, enhancing security measures. So for example, when it was the King's coronation in the UK a few weeks ago, this was the first time the British government deployed AI to basically watch everybody. And what it did, it scanned everyone's faces, it knew what they were doing, and if they looked a bit shifty or a bit weird, it was like, right, identify that person, go and send someone to investigate. So yes, it's a bit creepy, but it can help secure us as, a nation. So personalized experiences, we kind of touched on that already. So for example, if you're shopping, you've got shopping assistants, it might know what you've bought before, and then it can advertise certain things, so AI can be used here. So this is, again, still ChatGPT. I didn't write any of this. The conclusion of ChatGPT, of AI, is artificial intelligence offers numerous advantages across various industries. Increased efficiency is one, decision-making, cost savings. So it's basically transforming the way we live and work. And embracing AI technology can unlock new opportunities to drive innovation in the digital age. And so I think those are quite good points, and I think ChatGPT did a good job at generating those slides. I personally honestly think it's not going to replace our jobs, but I honestly think if we don't start using this technology, we will get left behind. So it is something that we need to use to make us better developers, better engineers, because other engineers will use it and they will leap ahead of us because there's no way these engineers can get as good as they're going to get without the help of this. So people who aren't using AI might get left behind. So that is one of the things that, I want you to take away from this ChatGPT thing. So now on to the disadvantages, and I want you to notice if there's anything different in the slides generated first or second. So first, job displacement. Yes, it's always a worry. AI could potentially replace human workers in various things. I mean, it has been doing that for the last 30 years anyway. I mean, if you go to Germany and go to most of their car manufacturing facilities, it's using AI in a lot of their robots in a lot of different ways anyway. So it's already been doing that. The automation of tasks by humans can be done by AI, causing losses and unemployment. I don't think any of us have to worry about that as engineers. We should be automating our tasks anyway, so we can then move on to other tasks and be more creative. So that's not shocking information for me. Lack of human judgment. I think this is really where AI falls over. So it basically doesn't get, the intuition, creativity that humans have. We could look at something. For example, we all know the popular film Terminator. Well, Skynet is technically right. Remove the humans from the human race, and you're going to have a better planet. Well, they didn't account for Sarah Connor and, the rest of the Freedom Force, but it's kind of right. If you think about it logically, you get rid of humans, you remove all the electronic waste, you remove all the plastic waste, but they don't understand that that's evil, that's mean. So AI doesn't understand that. So that's one of the downfalls of AI, in my opinion. Privacy concerns, again, like I mentioned for the coronation of my king, they essentially use AI en masse here, and you can imagine a lot of people in the UK were not happy about that. I mean, it's great, yeah, they're trying to keep us safe, but they could use that for various evil things. So you need to be fully, hope that your government will use it for good. I can't guarantee mine would, but there's privacy concerns there. Dependence on technology. Of course, what happens if we all got used to AI and we were using it all the time and it just went away? What would we do? I mean, to be honest, you could probably make the same statement for the internet and computers and technology in general, but, AI, if it just went away overnight, what would happen? Basically, there's a lot of security risks coming out of AI, and that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit in the later part of my presentation. Ethical considerations. So I'm in a self-driving car, and my car's going down the roads, and a child has run into the road. So the AI, my car is going to go, right, I need to avoid this child, but if I go right, I'm going to hit a family. If I go left, I'm going to hit an old person. That's where AI gets a bit weird, because we have to tell or kind of guide AI on what to do in these situations. Whereas as a human, we won't have time to think about who I'm going to hit. You're just going to swerve and it's just going to happen whoever you hit. But with AI, we have to actually program into this or give it the right direction of, okay, we don't want to kill the child because he's very young. We don't really want to kill the whole family of people either. So go and kill the old person. It's like that is kind of what the decisions AI has to make. So again, there's ethical considerations around AI. And again, emotional intelligence. So like I went back to the Skynet thing. Well, we'd all think it's mean to go and kill all the humans and go and slaughter everyone. But AI doesn't know that that's mean. AI thinks, yeah, I'm doing the planet a favor. You told me to sort the planet out, and I've done it. I've killed you all. There you go. It's all better now. So these are the kind of emotional intelligence and things that AI does lack. Of course, unemployment and income inequality. So AI can replace lots of jobs, and don't get me wrong, in 30, 40 years, some of us may be getting replaced by AI. In my opinion, as engineers, we are going to be the last people employed on this whole planet. Our job is to automate essentially everyone out of a job. That is what we do. So I wouldn't worry about our jobs, because honestly, I think we're going to probably be the last people working on this planet. Now, you look at builders and stuff like that, and you're like, oh, AI can't do that. I don't know if you've seen Boston Dynamics robot, but it's now at the point where it can paint, it can hammer stuff into the walls, it can jump up scaffolding. So it's kind of like, yeah, the technology is there to replace a lot of our jobs. So eventually, AI will do it, but it's all right. At the moment, we're all good. And again, lack of accountability. If AI kills someone, who do we blame for that? Do we blame the programmer? Well, he didn't tell AI to go kill someone. The artificial intelligence did it anyway. So it's like, who do we blame for that, right? So, to conclude my generated slides from ChatGPT, while AI offers numerous benefits, it's important to be aware of its potential disadvantages. I don't think that's really a conclusion, but whatever. Addressing these challenges requires careful consideration, regulation, and ethical frameworks. I would definitely agree with the second point. Now, can anyone figure out what is the difference between the first set of slides, and I didn't ask it anything else other than the advantages of AI and the disadvantages? Yes?
The second slide said less.
Yes! Why did ChatGPT only give me 2 points for each side on the disadvantages, but give me 3 for the rest? I think that's a bit of bias in there, do you? No? ChatGPT doesn't want to say it's bad, so it's giving me less points. It did it slyly, but it did it nonetheless, and in my opinion, that's bias. Anyway, should I be worried about my job? Maybe a little bit. I don't see the robot standing on stage and doing this anytime soon. But if I was doing this virtually, I could get Arnold Schwarzenegger to read this in a deep fake, and yeah, possibly it could take my job. But I'm not worried, it's fine. But should you guys be worried? That is the question. Yes and no. Yes, not for the reason you think, and no, not for the reason you think as well. So I like to think of AI as, this little crazy dude, he can't really do a lot, he's a bit harmless, etc. And when we start to get scared about AI, this is what we think about. Now, I literally added this to my deck as about an hour ago. But essentially, to replace programmers with AI, we need to get management to describe what they want. So don't worry, we're all safe. Now, one of my other speaker colleagues actually said, "Oh, that would be a good project to turn management terms into software development terms." I was like, "No, don't build it, don't do it. I don't need that." But no, I think we're safe for now. But so I don't think we should be worried in terms of our jobs, and I think actually we should embrace AI because it will make our jobs even easier. I mean, I honestly think the world will eventually turn to 4-day working weeks, 3-day working weeks, 2-day working weeks, 1-day working week as more and more people become replaced by automation, because that is what we do as engineers. But I don't think we need to be worried about that. Now, what we do need to worry about, because AI can be used for good and AI can be used for bad, and what we do need to worry about, especially as application developers and engineers, is what the bad guys are using AI for. So, cyber attacks are becoming a bigger and bigger thing, and the bad guys, guess what? They are using AI to get even more advanced of this. Now, cyber attacks used to be And they still are, trying to get money out of corporations, etc. Whereas now they're more state-sponsored. They are actually trying to take down critical infrastructure of our countries. And sometimes they're there to just stop our infrastructure dead, or sometimes the bad actors are trying to sneak malicious code in that they don't use straight away, but then later on, when they find the perfect time, they'll execute that code and bring down your infrastructure. Now, I hope you will remember, well, like I said, so we are the stewards of Maven Central, and we have been trying to basically shore up the security of Maven Central with AI and lots of other things. Now, there's generally three main, so we're all using software, open source software. Now, there's a few ways they try and do this. So dependency confusion is one. So adding a really long version number to the end. So everyone who downloads latest gets what? You get that bad version and you've got malicious code. There's also typo squatting, where they make, see it says log J4. So they make slight typo errors. So you as a developer, and I make the mistake all the time, you accidentally type something wrong. I used to type Docker as something else. I won't say what, but yeah. So we all do it. And this is how they get you. They're going on people just making mistakes. Or, for example, another element, typo squatting, as you can see, they've spelled Apache wrong. Now, we don't in Java, we're quite lucky, because Maven Central, from the beginning, made it so you have to prove you own that domain. So no one can put a log4j version up there unless they own the org.apache.log4j domain. So in Maven and Java, we've been quite lucky for a long time. It's very rare that malware gets into there, and we do have a lot of AI behind this, stopping that. But if you're using things like Python and Node, they don't have that proof of domain ownership. And as at Sonatype, we are taking down hundreds. We are reporting like hundreds of packages a week, mainly in Python and mainly in Node, just because hackers know this is the way to get into people's systems. So security is hard. There's lots of different things to consider, and AI is making it harder for us, but we can also use AI to make it easier. So pretty much everything that goes into Maven Central is scanned by Sonatype's products, and there is a lot of AI involved in that to scan through to make sure those new packages don't contain vulnerabilities. Now, again, in Java, we're quite lucky. I don't think it's very rare that anyone tries to put malware up there, because you have to prove you own the domain. So most of the time, our AI is looking for vulnerabilities, coding mistakes, something people missed, etc., like the log4j vulnerability. That wasn't purposely put there, that was a mistake. Maven Central is also advancing to have stuff like this. So we can run our AI against dependencies, etc., and we can give you an idea of how many vulnerabilities they have in there, and if this is a good dependency, or maybe there's one you should choose instead. So that's the problem. Hackers, script kiddies, whatever you want to call them, they are preying on people that are slow to change. A lot of us developers are. So, of course, we have the data on log4j because we run Maven Central. This was in May 2022, and 33% of all downloads of log4j in May 2022 were that vulnerable version. Bear in mind, I think this was one of the biggest vulnerabilities in technology history. It certainly was in Java. Nearly a year later, 25% of downloads of log4j are still that vulnerable version. And this is what people are doing with AI. They are preying on people and trying to get vulnerable packages into as many repositories as possible. So you will download them not thinking, okay, it's all good. But realistically, they're waiting for the right moment to then go and hack your system. 25% still of log4j downloads are vulnerable. So again, Maven Central is evolving. Our commercial scanners are behind everything that's uploaded there, and they're running AI to essentially try and stop the bad guys getting in. So of course, we all love open source, right? I mean, imagine trying to code an application without open source dependencies. Well, 90% these days of our applications are borrowed code. We didn't write that code. We pulled that code down from places like Maven Central, NPM, etc. And you look at average Java projects, you've got 150 dependencies, there's 10 releases of each of those dependencies per year. That's 1,500 updates you have to keep up to date with all the time. So it's a lot of things to think about. And do you actually check where half these dependencies come from? It could be some dude in Nebraska who's been maintaining it since 2003. I know you've probably seen this before. And not only do the dependencies we download, those dependencies contain more dependencies. So I think this was a Spring. So I go and get Spring Boot Starter. That pulls in all these, that pulls in all these, etc. And as you can see, some of these don't have the most favorable scores. And I'll show you a very quick example of this later. This is Bomb Doctor, which is a tool that scans your application using AI. It has some machine learning and some algorithms kind of put everything together to give each of your dependencies a score so you know which dependencies to avoid. So the modern face of cybercrime, it's change, really. I mean, the general public, they would look at, the perception of cybercrime is, it's difficult tasks, detailed plots, things like that. Reality, it's not. The people that are using AI to hackers nowadays, they are not professionals, most of them. They are quite amateurs. And there is even supported things. This is called malware as a service, called Zeus. This is a malware as a service that is supported, which you can download malware from to attack people. These things exist. Now, so we have an expert security research team that is constantly trying to keep ahead of, as I'm calling them here, script kiddies. Are they young? No, not always. Are they inexperienced? Some of them are, some of them aren't, but not always. Are they hackers? Not always. And honestly, the most malicious things out there are created by these youngsters that are essentially just trying to steal some money off corporations. Now, cat and mouse, honestly, it's very difficult to stay ahead of them. And now AI has become a thing. The battle has got even harder. They're doing lots and lots of things to essentially hide what they're doing. And so in the essence of time, I'm going to skip over a little bit of this technical part. But we have, where is it? Two pieces of code here. I asked ChatGPT to generate me some malware, and it did it. It did it. AI can just generate malware. ChatGPT can, I'm not going to tell you the phrasing I use to do this, but it is. And if we look at what's on the internet, it's very, very similar. And essentially, and this is something that we have noticed in Node and Python in a few places, so we've been trying to keep ahead of these people, but what we noticed is that generated? Are they using AI to generate malware? So we actually went to ChatGPT and generated the same malware with very, very limited knowledge, and it did it. So AI is great. We can use it for lots of things, but it can be used for evil. So to fight evil, to fight evil AI, we have to use good AI, because we as humans can't mentally keep up with what this technology can do. So, like I said, yeah, they're everywhere. They're trying to hack everything. I think there was a hack today where like 10 different companies got hacked in the United States and the UK with an encrypted transfer protocol for files. Of course, that's the best place to hack someone, right? Just get into their transfer protocol. Okay, so now I'm going to scare you a little bit, just to make you think a bit more about why security is important and why IA is important. So in 2016, cybercrime surpassed the drug trade. I'm not shitting you. In 2016, it surpassed the drug trade. That's $450 billion US a year. That's equivalent to 50 of the biggest nuclear-powered aircraft carriers in the world. Do you reckon that's gone up in 2022 with the introduction of AI and things like that? Of course it has. In 2022, it's now $6 trillion US a year. That's equivalent to 620 of the world's biggest nuclear aircraft carriers. Imagine if these kids had access to that, and they all came together to put their money together. And if it was a country, it would be the third biggest country in terms of GDP in the world. So this is massive amounts of money that they are now stealing from us and our corporations. Now, if Pablo Escobar was alive today, do you think he would be in the drug trade? Probably not. He would be in hacking, especially with ChatGPT. He can just generate his malware nowadays. So AI is only going to make security harder, and the more advanced AI gets, the more advanced the malware and the attacks are going to get. That's why the best way to fight AI and these bad actors is to use AI against them. This was the log4j thing. So say in 2006, if a vulnerability came out, you had about an average of 45 days to fix that vulnerability before you got hacked. That is now down to less than a day. So we have to be very, very quick at identifying these things. And guess what? All this free code, all this open source code we're borrowing, it's in everything. It's in insulin pumps. It's in aircraft. It's in cars. So we have to pay even more and more attention to security, because 15 years ago, we weren't borrowing code. We were writing it all ourselves. An airplane was powered by code we wrote. It's not anymore. It's powered by borrowed code coming from anywhere in the world. So we have to be very, very careful that the code we're using hasn't had malware and vulnerabilities injected into it. So just going to finish off and talk a little bit about what we use it in Sonatype. Like I mentioned, we do scan everything that you download from Maven Central with our AI scanners. Now, we only reject malware. There's a reason for that, and I always get asked this: why don't you take all these vulnerable versions down? We can't be the stewards to say, okay, you can't put this new log4j version up, or you can't put this new Spring Boot version up because there's a vulnerability in it. You, as developers, might not ever touch the code that touches that vulnerability. It's not Node, where every time we install it, we have to do an npm install, and then the vulnerability is there. With Java, we have to hit that bit of code before that vulnerability does something. So we are not the ones that are going to say yes and no to things that go onto Maven Central. The only thing we say no to is malware. So when we detect malware with our scanners, we then just say, no, this can't go up there because this has been created for malicious purposes. So our three main products at Sonatype, Firewall, Nexus Repo, and Lifecycle. The one that has quite a bit of AI in is Firewall, and this is my favorite product, so I love this. So Firewall kind of sits between, say, Maven Central and your local repository in your organization. That could be, like I said, Nexus, could be Artifactory, whatever. Firewall sits in the middle. And essentially what it does is use machine learning and AI to scan everything constantly. And we have to keep training the AI to get better. But essentially what it's trying to do is stay one step ahead of the bad guys. Now, we observe every code commit, every new line of code, everything that is all scanned. And to date, we've stopped 115,000, we've identified 115,165 packages that nobody knew had vulnerabilities in them. I did that, and we told the communities about them and got them removed or whatever. So this is what Firewall does. The great thing is, what will happen is you'll download something, it goes into Firewall. If it's never seen this dependency before, it will block it. It'll go to our AI. Our AI machine learning will scan it. If our AI is still not quite sure, it then goes to our research team. There's about 100 of them who are pros at this. Their job is to go through code all day long and find out what the bad people are doing. Then if they're happy, then you can download it onto your machine. If they're not happy and they find something really evil, they will block it and then tell your organization why. And then as developers, you might get some information as well in regards to why it's been blocked and some ways you can get around it. So maybe try a different library that does the same thing, stuff like that. So, last but not least, I just wanted to introduce BombDocs. It's a completely free tool, so do check it out. It uses AI and machine learning in the background to essentially scan your SBOMs, if you've ever heard of them, but basically a bill of materials of your application to identify each dependency and tell you if the packages and the dependencies in it are safe. And it will give you options to move to different dependencies or, different things like that. So you can have dependencies that have the least amount of vulnerabilities and hopefully no malware. So in the interest of letting you all join the after party, I know you've been, again, my brain's melting a little bit, not because it's all of a sudden 32 degrees where it was 22 yesterday, but yeah, my brain's also melting a little bit. But my kind of conclusion here, and what I want you to all take away, is AI is not going to take most of our jobs anytime soon, don't worry. Although, again, our job is to automate everyone else out of a job, but don't worry about that. AI is not going to take our jobs anytime soon. Current AI technology is not new, And in my opinion, it's only popular now because of ChatGPT and putting that nice web front end that anyone can type any question in and it produces the answer. I mean, honestly, in my opinion, ChatGPT is like Google search on steroids. We can get the same answers as ChatGPT. It might take us half an hour or an hour, and ChatGPT can do it in seconds, but it's still essentially a Google search on steroids, right? So that's kind of my opinion of ChatGPT. Again, it's got popular lately because of how easy it is to use, but honestly, if any industry is geared to take advantage of AI, it's all of us. We are engineers, and AI can make our lives a lot easier. But the one thing to remember is AI can be used for evil. It's not taken over the world yet, but it can be used for evil. But we can also use good AI to fight the bad AI. There's some useful links to some of the information I talked about today in this presentation, if anyone wants any of that. Honestly, do check out the Photoshop generative fill. It's quite scary. I'm not ever going to believe any Instagram photos ever again. It's sitting on the beach, they're just in their lounge, just on a chair. It's like you just don't know what's true anymore. But there's some of the information that I talked about today. If you want to get in touch with Sonatype, and I've got a question and an ask for all of you, we need a new logo for Maven Central. It's been the same 3 lines for about 12 years. If anyone's got an idea for a good logo for Maven Central, either tweet me or tweet Sonatype and just send us your ideas, and we'll take them all on board because we really need a new logo. Some random stuff there to check out about some of the stuff I talked about today. And the last thing is, don't forget to check out Bomb Doctor again, completely free, and it can make your applications a lot safer. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed the conference. I hope you all enjoyed my talk. Before you clap, I'm going to take a picture just to tell my boss that I wasn't on holiday, and I actually did some work while I was here. Right, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you all for having me, and I hope you enjoyed the conference and enjoy the after party. Thanks, everybody.